All right. I know some people are still hopping in, but we'll go ahead and get started. Welcome everybody to the Q4 product webinar for Sift. We're starting to do these every quarter. I'm excited to share with you an update on what we've done in Q3 and what we're working on this quarter for our product. So thank you so much for joining us today. For those of you I have not had the pleasure of meeting, I'm Ryan Bickham. I'm our VP of Product Engineering here at Sift. I am in charge of our product roadmap and generally work with our engineering team to build what you use in Sift every day or what you've been thinking about using in Sift every day as one of our prospective customers. So very happy to share this with you. And if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the chat throughout the session. We welcome all questions. If I see a question and it's quick to answer, I'll be happy to do so as I'm going along. And if not, I'll certainly get to it at the end. We'll also be asking some Q&A poll questions in the chat as well. And our team here at Sift, Aaron, Kai, and Alyssa will be managing those polls and getting them out to you. So please feel free to participate in those. We always love hearing feedback from everybody during these things, and we love to use it to make our product better. And as always, you will receive a recording of this webinar within the next 36 hours. So by the end of the week, and that will involve the slide deck as well. So our agenda here today is what have we been up to in Q3? So going over what we've been working on. We'll also give you a short demo of one of our sort of largest features that we released this quarter. And then we'll talk a little bit about what's coming up next and how you can get involved in our product roadmap. So a couple of things that we have built in Q3. One of our biggest focuses this quarter was making the data upload process for Sift easier. So one of the things that we improved on was after your data sync completes, we've given you updated integration monitoring to like look at what how many people successfully synced, if there was any errors, how you can fix and troubleshoot those errors, and trying to help you out throughout that process. And then the other thing that we've gone ahead and introduced is a new data sync import wizard. So now when you go and set up your data integration for the first time, you'll see a step-by-step experience. In the past, we had more of a disconnected way of getting your data into Sift, where you would need to sort of know exactly where you needed to go or talk to our customer support specialist to get this set up for you. And now we've gone ahead and made this process a lot easier. We've updated the mappings experience to give you some automatically suggested mappings, and we'll continue to do that in the future. But one of the things that we're sort of continuously improving on is getting data into Sift, as I know has been an issue for lots of people in the past. And one thing that we wanted to know, which is our first poll question, is how difficult have you found it to get your data uploaded in the past? And I think we have a few options here, ranging from very easy to very difficult. So would be very curious to know here, because I mean, this is one thing that we've heard from a lot of our customers has been a challenge in the past, and we've always looked to improve upon it. Got a somewhat difficult and easy. All right, good to know. Thank you. And we can leave that open for a minute. I'll continue to look at these results. So yeah, we have a couple of somewhat difficult and one difficult. So this is definitely something that we've been looking towards working on. And here I'd like to sort of give you a demo of sort of our progress up until this point. You'll see that we're going to be continuing to work on this throughout the rest of this year as well. But up until this point, what we've sort of done, I'm going to give you sort of a walkthrough of that wizard experience. So here is your people data screen on the admin dashboard, where you would normally go to import all of your data. And here now, when we click this create new button up here, it'll bring us like right into this sort of question of, hey, like, where is your data coming from? We have our familiar methods of a CSV, which I know a lot of our customers will use for just any generic data source, as well as Azure AD and Google Workspace. In this example today, I'll be showing you a CSV upload. So if we go ahead and click next, it'll ask you to give your directory name. So I can just say, okay, products, CSV, and say next. And here we give the user sort of more of a sort of informational screen that lets them know what's required in their file. And then once I upload it, I made myself a little sample for this specific thing. Let me try to find it here. Got it. Okay. And then I can go on and map my data. And one of the sort of biggest things that we've done with this experience is in the past, you had to go ahead and like type the name of like every single one of your individual column headers into Sift, and now we've replaced those with drop downs. So like here are the headers in my file. So I have an email address, a first name, a last name, a title, and a team leader email. So this is like my manager's email address. So we've gone ahead and given you the opportunity to just pick your header from a drop down rather than needing to type it in every time. And over here, we'll see preview data being automatically populated, where in the past, this preview data didn't work for CSVs, and it sometimes didn't work for any of our other data source types. Down here, same way, when we're setting up our org chart mapping, I can say that the team leader email column references managers by their email, and also using dropdowns in the same way. And then down here, one thing you'll see is you no longer need to add a individual mapping and like create them one by one for all of your columns. Like what we've done is we've pre-populated your mappings page here with all of your columns on the left. So like instead of needing to type all of this stuff in over here, it just already exists. And then here is where you would sort of map it over to all of the necessary Sift properties. So if we look here, we see these required attributes of first name, last name, and email. And then we can just go ahead and get everything else. So I have a very minimal file here just for the sake of this webinar. But if you had one with 25 columns, it would show you all 25 of them. And as I show some of the stuff we're going to be working on this quarter, you'll see some more things as well. But this at least does give you the opportunity to not have to type in all of those individual headings. And then when I click initialize my sync, it'll just immediately go ahead and get this data imported to Sift. So it'll ask me to click the initialize sync button below to import the data from my CSV, and it should be completed in the next few minutes. Yeah, and then I'll let this just go for a second, and it should be done soon. But another thing that we've done is we've redesigned this top section, as I sort of showed in the previous slide. So one thing that we've done, which we didn't previously do, is we've differentiated between like your current sync status. So right now we see that this is running, and your last sync, which you don't see right now because there is no last sync because it's a brand new data source. But you have that here. You can come in and update your mappings at any time, and you'll see sort of the same view of having like all of your columns predefined, so you don't need to come in and type any of those in as before. Give this a quick refresh and see if it's done. It's still running. And yeah, so sort of once this is done, you'll be able to see a summary of what happened during that sync. Hopefully this will finish. There you go. So now we see that the current sync status is it's not running. And if you want to run a new sync, you can upload your CSV or file right from here. And the last sync was completed a few seconds ago. And now I can go into this log and I can look at how many profiles were created, how many profiles were updated, how many were deactivated, how many were reactivated, how many primary key or email collisions were there. So this is if there's more than one person with the same email address, like Sift cannot allow them to be imported. And then also in the case of an error, you'll see a message that comes up that sort of attempts to explain why the issue happened, which we're still working on, like working out some issues with that. But that's sort of like the summary of what we've done up until this point. That same wizard experience is also available for the Azure AD and the Google source types as well. So you can do just an initial walkthrough and connect everything up and do it all in a step-by-step process. So it just makes things a lot easier, both for new customers and existing customers who are wanting to bring new data into the platform. And that is that. Great. So some other things that we worked on last quarter are ideating around our homepage. We began to talk about this in the last webinar if you attended, but if not, happy to walk through it as well here. So we're thinking about ways to make Sift a place that has sort of more of information given to its users when they come and land on it. So right now, a lot of people will go and use Sift when they need to find somebody or when they need to know something or when they need to look at an org chart for someone. But we're trying to bring ways into Sift that engages users more on a day-to-day basis by bringing current information to them that's more dynamic. And one of the ways that we've talked about doing that is working on a new homepage for our platform. So as all of you know, the current homepage of Sift is just our big search bar with our autocomplete, which is great. It works awesome. Like you can go and you can search for people and it's very extensive, but it really doesn't give you too much more than that. So what we've done is we've gone ahead and thought about, hey, like what information would be like fun to see on the homepage. So everything from like sort of celebrations will be that like today's birthdays, today's new hires, today's anniversaries, to something like an announcement. So like maybe your company could go and you could post just like a company-wide announcement. Things like awards, shout outs. So like these people have won an award in the recently, or like I want to give this person a shout out. Expanding upon the My Team section to understand who's in office, who's out of office, um, like kind of like who is like busy on their calendar right now, etc. And we've had more ideas as well that sort of also involve more extensive functionality, like offering you like a mentor that you should have a coffee with or something along those lines. But really, the sort of long story short is we're looking at a system where an administrator of the platform, which I know a lot of you are, would sort of be able to define in your admin dashboard which sort of widgets that you would want to be available on your homepage. You'd be able to configure them. You'd be able to like look at you could be able to configure like the look, the layout, the order of them, and then they would be displayed to everybody in your organization on this homepage. And building that system is sort of our MVP of this feature. So just like getting that system in place and maybe getting some simple widgets in place that sort of extend upon our existing functionality. So like for example, like these celebrations, like Sift now can already know whose birthday it is. Like if you have a birthday attribute on your profile, you can like filter by birthday is today. Like it can already kind of know who the new hires are, who the work anniversaries are. It knows about your team, it knows about your recent searches. But other things sort of involve like entire features behind them, like announcements or like mentor matching or things like that. So really honing in on the system itself is kind of what we've been focused on. But we've also been thinking about, hey, like for our initial release, like sort of what kind of functionality would people like to see? And along with that, we have our second poll question where we're offering here just a few examples of some widgets that you might see. So which of these homepage widget types interest you the most? So I'm gonna go through these really quick and then we'll put the poll question up because in Teams, there's not a way for you to like look at these images and look at the poll question at the same time because it's weird. So anyway, so number one is this like celebrations and people list. So displaying a list of people that have reached a specific date-based milestone today, such as a birthday or an anniversary or a new hire. Number two would be external links. So like this would allow you, if your company doesn't have like another intranet system, like you could even use Sift as such. So just being able to like add links out to your pay and benefits information or your policy packet or any other external links that you would like to link people out to. We already do have this in sort of minimal functionality in Sift as well, but just giving you an opportunity to put an area there that people would always have access to. Number three, we have announcements. So admins can post announcements to their entire org or part of their org. Speaking of like MVP versus not MVP, we've also sort of talked about could these be scoped to certain departments? Like, could you give access to like different departments to have departments only specific to their department and all that other type of stuff? But announcements as a concept. So just being able to communicate out to your users through the Sift platform. Number four is awards. I know we've heard a lot about this from a lot of our customers, and right now we have a way of doing awards, but it's sort of through the generic Sift profile attributes. But working on a very specific implementation of awards and like making them more prominent is one thing that we thought about doing. So this widget would kind of showcase who has won awards recently, and it wouldn't necessarily look like this. It could look like something else, but along with this widget itself, we would work on the profile page and give people badges and all of that type of stuff. And then number five is mouse wheel. Number five is the My Team status. So being able to more easily see like who's in office today, who's remote today, like who's in a meeting, who has availability. Along with this could come things like calendar integration, trying to get this in office, out of office information, work location from that calendar, like rather than making people input it manually. So those are the five things I wanted to ask you all about today, and we're going to put up a poll question right now, where you'll be able to like rank the five like in order of kind of like importance to you. So if you could take a second to do that, I would appreciate it. Great. Yeah. Thank you. It looks like we have a pretty even race here amongst a few of them. I think what this does is it's just kind of like averaging out all the like, sort of average scores of all. But it looks like the celebrations and people lists were number one. External links and announcements coming in soon after that, and then the awards after that. So yeah, thank you. Definitely appreciate that. And that's good to know that this is one of the most important ones. I mean, it is something that we could kind of do and execute on relatively quickly. So that's good to know. Great. Yeah, and then I guess the other thing that we've done is these infrastructure updates. So we this is sort of in the back end of that's like something you've never seen, but we've done a lot in our back end this quarter to update things like our Node.js version and our database version, and getting our security audits done and getting our penetration tests executed. So Q3 was a big quarter for us with that as well. And if you're ever interested in updated information on our data privacy or security, um, you can always reach out to us and we can provide that information to you. So what's coming for Q4? First thing I wanted to ask very quickly before I go to the next slide is if you are an admin of Sift currently, like which data sync methods do you use? So that's the CSV, Azure, Google, anything else? And we're going to put that up right now. Great, cool. So it looks like we have a good mix here. So a lot of CSV, which makes sense because it kind of covers everything. But we do have a few other sync methods as well. So the sort of next phase of this data import improvement uh, product update is sort of this like CSV upload assistance improvements. And this doesn't only apply for CSV. Like this sort of experience that you see in the screenshot will work for all the other source types as well. But for CSV, it's kind of like the most applicable because with things like Azure and Google, like they sort of have like standard ways that they represent information, like who is whose manager and like what is your first name and things like that. But when we're mapping CSVs for people, it sort of becomes a little bit more of a rough exercise if you sort of don't understand what's needed there. So what we're working on is giving you sort of a real-time assistance inside of your like data mappings experience. So like for example, if you like went and you like mapped the column to your primary key and like nobody had a value for it, currently what would happen, or I guess like putting that more simply, if you imported a CSV and like you mapped a column to email address and like nobody had a value in that column, so nobody had an email address. Right now in Sift, like your data sync would just fail and like it wouldn't really tell you why. But here, what we're going to do is we're going to use a combination of like your mappings that you're proposing to us and your existing file, and give you sort of recommendations based on that. So things like there's no record in your file that has a primary key value, or your org chart mapping might not be set up correctly. So in the past, we've seen people like get this section wrong, and essentially the org chart just wouldn't build at all because like it wasn't like referencing their leader properly. So we're just trying to like get out in front of a lot of these issues and make this sort of import experience a lot less painful. And this will also, of course, work for things like Azure. So if you do have an org chart issue with your data, it'll still do the same thing. And then again, just improving upon this page in general in a lot of different ways. But after that, that's kind of the last sort of iteration of doing so. And one of the other reasons we're doing this, which may or may not apply to people on this call, but is if you didn't know, Sift now sort of allows people to sign up for it like just online and just start using it immediately. So we're really trying to like make this data import experience better, so our new users can really get their things uploaded and not have to rely so much on our support team that does a great job, but is often very busy. So that's one thing we're working on. Second thing is that we are finalizing our high fidelity design and requirements for that homepage design that you just saw, but also in product payments. So we are actually beginning development work on this relatively soon. So this is just being able to pay with a credit card within the Sift product and monitor sort of your license agreement, and get everything done just right in the platform, so you don't have to do such a manual process with us. So that's something that we've been working on for a while. We are working on sort of and I know we've said this before as well, but really wanting to make the usage of your Sift instance more visible and transparent to all of the admins who are on this call. So just like understanding how many of my people are actually using the platform, what does my profile completion data look like? Right now, we do provide this to people on a more ad hoc basis, but it's sort of another manual request thing. So in version 1, it might not be like a super advanced data dashboard or anything along those lines. It's visual, but like we might be able to have like some automated reports or things like that. So like if anybody's interested in those things, definitely feel free to reach out to us. So that's one thing that we're working on as well. We're partnering with Okta as well, so we're working to get them on our marketplace. Um, we actually do have a direct integration to Okta that exists. That's not in terms of like bringing in people data. So we can integrate with Okta like for single sign-on purposes, but we also can bring like people data in from Okta, like just like we can from like Azure AD, from like an API perspective. And that does exist right now. You have to do like a manual process with us, but this quarter, we're working on getting that into our admin dashboard, if that's something that you're interested in. And then also, we're working to partner with them to get ourselves on their official store and doing that as well. And that is the bulk of it. I mean, we're also working on a bunch of other a bunch of other things as well that are more minor in the background, but those are our biggest things. As we said, the sort of homepage is the next big thing up to bat on the end user experience of Sift, the next major thing, and the sort of data upload stuff is what we've been really focused on the admin dashboard side. If you would like to get involved, you can always go to our feature request board. Thank you. Yes, the reporting is something we know that people very much want and are looking forward to. So yeah, appreciate it. You can always go to our feedback request board at feedback.justsift.com. This is linked in your navigation in Sift if you click the drop down. Just to note, for a while we weren't like looking at this like a ton. I mean, it just sort of for internal process reasons, but we've kind of like relaunched this and are very much paying attention to it now. So please feel free to submit ideas there. Also, just to note, like by default, all of your end users can submit ideas like on this board, all of the employees at your various companies. But the requests like are sort of like validated by us. So like we make sure that they don't submit any like private data or anything like that, and like we don't make them public. So this is a way that you can sort of give us any feedback that you have from a product perspective. If you want us to write if you like want to write something more detailed and put in screenshots and all that type of stuff. You can also reach out to us on social media on LinkedIn. And I think that we also have one more poll question here for all of y'all. And I don't actually remember what it is, so I apologize. But Aaron, put that up. Oh, yes, here we go. So would you like to be contacted to help improve and provide feedback on Sift's future products? So we're often looking for sort of users to just talk to about our ideas and things like this homepage idea, and just give us sort of more like one-on-one design feedback and things along those lines. So if you're interested in this, please let us know here. Aaron, I guess it's fine. It looks like it's not recording people's names, but yeah, please answer this poll. I guess it'll just get a general sentiment of this, and if you're interested, please feel free to reach out to us, and we'll make sure to involve you in any future planning conversations. Did that go out, Aaron? I didn't notice it. Oh, there it is. Oh, gotcha. Okay, great. Yeah, thank you. Happy to know that you would like to be involved in that. Also, keep an eye out. I'm sure that you're all subscribed, but we do have a quarterly email that goes out sort of along with this webinar that gives you a lot of the detail that you've heard today. And in those emails, we'll often sort of solicit for feedback. So make sure you look for those, and they'll be coming from, I believe, my email address, which is ryan@justsift.com. And last but not least, if you enjoy Sift, if you love what we do, please leave us a review on G2. We take pride in our G2 ranking, and we really just want to make sure that our presence there is known. So we would really appreciate that if you could leave us a review. And we often do like gift card drawings and things like that, which Aaron could probably tell you more about. But yeah, really appreciate all of that feedback as well. And even if you have negative feedback, I mean, feel free to leave a review or reach out to us or whatever you want. We're always here to make everything better for you. And I think that is all that I have for my presentation. Thank you again so much for joining and listening. And if anybody has any direct questions on any of that, please let me know and I can answer them. Thank you. I'm just waiting for you to finish typing, Peyton. I can answer your question quickly, Mark, real quick. Yeah, yes, like that is all. Yeah, so our Google Sync is not our Google Sync does not have like sort of the selective like group management like Azure AD does, and that is on our list to do over the next couple of months. So yeah, that should be available for you. You're not able to get to the feedback site. Let me look at it really quick for you. Feedback. Should look like that. I'll answer your question though, Peyton, as well. For the digital contact card, I assume you're talking about sort of something along the lines of like being able to have sort of a more like external representation, like of your Sift profile somewhere. So like something you could put in like an email signature or something along those lines. Is that accurate? Got it. Yeah, that's a really good idea. I mean, it's not something that's on our direct roadmap now, but it is something that we've thought about before. I'll definitely write that down and I can get back to you on that. It would only be internal. Got it. So, okay, so you wouldn't want the information to sort of show up to external parties. Understood. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I can do some research into that and follow up with you. Yeah. Um, does that feedback site still not work for you when you click that link? You're welcome. Also, yeah, if anybody else has any other questions, I'll give it a couple more minutes, and if not, we can call it a show. Interesting. Would you mind like sending me a screenshot of that when you get a second to my email? Because yeah, I'm not sure what's going on because the web browser that I just showed it and I was not signed in. So thank you, appreciate it. All right. Great. Well, I don't see anybody else typing, but if you have any questions for me, please feel free to reach out either via that feedback site or via my email. I put it in the description. Thank you so much for joining, and I hope you have a good one. I'll see you later.